Hello and welcome to Beyond the Hill, a brand new show that explores what life is like after school. My name is James Gaffney, and across this 6-part series we'll dive into the Hurtwood Alumni Archive to find out what some of the stars of this great place are doing now. My guest today is a star of both stage and screen. He's worked alongside acting royalty such as Kenneth Branagh and Johnny Depp, as well as being the voice to the words of the great Bear Grylls. You may also know him from roles in TV shows Fresh Meat and Miracle Workers, or if you're a fan of the West End production of Prince of Egypt, it really is amazing to have him back on the hill. Please join me in welcoming back actor and Hurtwood House alumni, Luke Brady, everybody! Woo!
Hello.
Got to clap yourself, Luke.
No.
Luke, we're going to talk about so many things today, what you've done in your career, talk about latest kind of stuff, but let's take it back to Hurtwood in this very room. Do you remember being in here? Because kind of interviews happen here,
I do very well.
Yeah.
You know what? It is home.
Yeah.
And at the time, it didn't feel anywhere near to home. As soon as I was here and sat down, I was with my nan, and she just starts bawling her eyes out straight away.
Wow.
In the first 2 minutes, before I'd even sort of said a word or done my audition.
Yeah.
And she was just saying, oh, how lovely it would be to be a part of this. And
Yeah.
I was very nervous, but also incredibly excited. It was just sort of...
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I loved most was just understanding how tailored the education would be.
Yeah.
It's sort of student to teacher ratio was just something I couldn't get anywhere else. So I was, please.
And you're right, you can't get this anywhere else. It's a very different school to anything out there.
Absolutely.
And it's a centre of excellence for the arts, but it's also more than that, isn't it? Because people think it's a theatre school. Primarily, yeah, sure, really good, but the academic side, the ice cream machine that I always like to bring up as
that
well.
Wasn't there when I was here.
What?
I don't think so.
Oh, thank goodness. Thank God I came when I did.
That's all new.
So take me back to these days. You've kind of spoken how special the school is. In fact, you don't even need to tell me, because here I've got the official programme of the West End production of Prince of Egypt. And in your kind of... Here we go. We're very well prepared here. And in your bit, your little bio about yourself, it talks about what you've done and how happy you are for the role, etc. And then there's this lovely little bit down the bottom where it says, Luke would like to send his love to his family and friends and give a special mention to Cosmo Jackson and Hurtwood House, who supported him live his dream. And that's true. The school really were a driving force.
Absolutely. I put so much down to this place.
Yeah.
It was the catalyst for me being able to do the thing that I'm still doing. And I don't think any of us know where we're going to be headed in the next couple of weeks. But for me, it was such a turning point. I felt a huge amount of support.
You're a performer yourself. Talk to me about your time at Hurtwood and the performances. I've got the programme there from when you were here of We Will Rock You.
Yeah.
What a show, because that was obviously your first year here. Tell me about that production.
It was like a movie.
Yeah.
It was a whirlwind. I come from a working class background, so straight away I felt a little bit sort of outside of my comfort zone.
Sure.
But I knew the reason I was here was to perform, and sort of part of my default is to sort of retreat and be a bit closed off, but you can't really do that when you sort of just have to get on with it. So straight away it felt like I was shedding a skin being here, and there's so many dynamic, interesting individuals, like you say, not just performers, but being an international school, it was like opening my eyes for the first time to a version of the world. Really. Miles at the time was holding auditions,
right? And
we all got the material, and then I just remember just sort of having to blurt out this song, and God, who can sing Freddie Mercury?
I know, like
this is the...
Who wrote this musical? He's madness.
Yeah, I still think it's one of those things that's like for students especially, even, professionals to sing it, the material is so challenging.
Absolutely.
But you just had to get on with it, and somehow managed to do the thing.
And pull it off. And with Hurtwood, though, I mean, you've performed in West End productions, so you'll know this better than me. How close is it? Because the quality of shows, I mean, before Christmas I came and watched Legally Blonde here. Incredible. The shows I did when I was here, having a West End band, the production values is similar, right?
Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal. I don't think I've ever experienced it prior or since in terms of how much they throw at these shows.
Yeah.
The transition period doesn't feel too far of a gap.
Sure.
Which was, again, just amazing. Having left, it didn't feel like I had to play catch up, because I'd already had the benefit of being here.
So when you go into professional production, you're like, I kind of know what I'm doing a little bit here.
Exactly.
Well, two of your main productions in your time here were We Will Rock You in 2007, and then you did a pop concert. There's a pop concert every year here.
Yeah.
I've got some headphones there, Luke.
Yes.
Pop them on. Okay. So you can have a little listen. Let's indulge, shall we, on your time at Hurtwood. Because the amazing production team at Hurtwood House have gone through the archive, and we're going to play you a little bit of you. This is you in a concert. Well, after she stopped singing.
Here we are. Who's that guy?
That's you. Very smooth, isn't it?
Young.
So young.
Has your voice changed, would you say, from then to now?
Yeah, definitely. I think your voice naturally matures and whatnot, but
Yeah.
just sounds so green.
Yeah, what's it like listening back to that?
Oh man. Yeah, wholesome. There's something so familiar about it, and just knowing where you were at that time and place. And
No, it sounds very good. I wish I could sing like that. That's a really quite cool voice. So you want to hear that in a jazz
Christmas
bar.
is round the corner.
Well, do not keep those headphones actually, Luke, because
okay.
you're a man of many talents. You don't just do smooth singing. Freddie Mercury would be impressed with this. Have a listen.
This isn't We Will Rock You.
Still dream about this, you know.
Do you?
Yeah. There's a sort of common thread with performers where they just wake up and they don't know the play or they don't know the show and they just have to get on with it. But I'm always sort of transported back to this one.
And as you kind of said there, not an easy song to sing.
No. I didn't have any formal sort of vocal training at the time before coming here.
Because in a West End show, I can't imagine the understudy singing it off stage. They're going to want to get on, I would imagine.
Right.
Yeah.
Itching.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is lovely.
Which is
I think
great.
that's because it is a collaboration.
Of course it is, yeah.
It's something in Prince of Egypt I've made very clear from the start to Adam Philippe, who we're still very good friends with. He was covering me as Moses, and it's a shared role. This is our thing. If it's something that hopefully we get a year's worth of a run, there are definitely going to be times that I'm going to be off, and you jump in, and you know you have to do that thing of supporting that person and making them feel like, no, this is yours. And give your interpretation.
And as an actor, and even as a Hurtwood student, it's a shared experience, isn't it? People who've not been to the school won't understand really what it's like. I suppose, I haven't been a West End lead, so I couldn't even begin to think of the pressures and the stresses. So you need someone to just say, listen, buddy, this voice ain't working tonight. You can do it.
Yeah.
So it's important to have that relationship.
Yeah, just being honest, checking in with your voice in the morning, and making that call. I know the show must go on is the saying, but at the same time, you need to sort of, I think people have said it a lot, but treat yourself almost like an athlete in terms of vocal health and sustainability.
It's not an easy job.
No.
I remember someone said to me once when I was doing here, my friend had nothing to do, musical theatre. He went, that looked like a lot of fun, a lot of jumping up and down. I went, you have no idea how much hours go into this kind of thing. So you are an athlete, you're absolutely right. Is there a highlight of your time at Hurtwood from a performance side of you? Maybe it was Freshers, maybe that first week, I don't know. I don't know, any pieces you did.
This is a bit of a... Steve Grantham was my acting teacher, and he put on a production of The Tempest, and I got a chance to play Caliban.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember just before school going into a fishmonger in maybe Cranley, and just as you do, buying a filleted trout, and being really excited because I was going to climb out of this little sort of cave and eat this trout in front of people and make people feel a bit awkward.
Yes.
And then just sort of launch it into the audience, as you do.
Classic Hurtwood.
But there's something about the sort of getting into your sort of physicality that I really enjoyed. And I hadn't at the time done Shakespeare, so that was a sort of dipping my toes into something entirely different.
Yeah.
And didn't have to sort of be as concerned with singing in front of people, which...
Do you enjoy singing? I mean, you've got an incredible voice.
I do, you know. Yeah, over the years it's become something that's... just become a lot more a part of me, and I make music independently outside of the work, just for my own sort of leisure.
We'll move away from Hurtwood into your career since in a second. If there's a young performer listening and watching us right now who's not sure, Hurtwood, that seems amazing, but it's not right for me. You've kind of already answered this, but what's your one message to them to take the plunge and come here? Why should they do it?
I think it's an opportunity for you to see sort of beyond what you know, only through having sort of being surrounded by like-minded people, but also people that are going to challenge you.
Yeah.
Take the plunge.
Take the plunge.
Definitely.
And use it as a, if you want to know what real West End work is like and what you need, that drive to be an actor, try this out for a couple of years. And
absolutely.
See if you're built for it.
Yeah. You'll always think back to it as well. It's one of those things that's it genuinely does. It could have been yesterday.
Yeah.
And that sort of just highlights how fond I am of the place.
Yeah, absolutely. So you left Hurtwood and kind of went straight into the business. So I'm going to read a few of the shows you did because they're not bad, folks. Your initial break, I believe, was playing the young lead of Matt. Is that in the Fantastics at the Duchess? I've got
that's
that
right, yeah.
That was in the West End. You then played Jesus in Vernon God Little at the Young Vic. You went to the Edinburgh Fringe, but was that with the school or how? Because it was at Ezra, was it?
With Ezra,
With
yeah.
Ezra.
I think a student couldn't be a part of this project for whatever reason. I'd never been.
Yeah.
It's like a rite of passage, isn't it? Going to the Fringe and
yeah,
falling asleep on the train on the way home or whatever, just sort of being exhausted. But yeah, that was a sort of likely sort of coincidence to just sort of be able to jump on board.
It's definitely a bucket list thing as an actor.
Absolutely, yeah.
I've been and watched. I've never taken part, and that is truly incredible. Then, so that play was called Nightfall, I believe.
Yes.
And the next thing, you're in Sweeney Todd. Was that alongside Michael Ball and Imelda?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That was.
Let's take a step back. That initial period after you left the school, because you did go to drama school eventually.
I did eventually, yeah.
So tell me about how did that all happen? Did you get an agent, or did you just get spotted, or?
Well, this is another beautiful thing about this place, is the kind of audiences that come here.
Yeah.
I would have naturally sort of found myself doing the thing of, at some point in time, prepping to do drama school auditions.
Sure.
But in We Will Rock You, an agency, Curtis Brown, just happened to be in the audience.
Because why not?
Why not? Yeah, absolutely. So I was invited for an interview, and that kind of, sort of the rest is history. I've been with them ever since.
And you're still with them today?
And I'm still with them today.
Wow,
so without all of this,
you can easily track it back,
you
can't
can.
you?
Yeah, the butterfly effect is a real thing.
So did they approach you like at the end of the show, or was it a few days later, like a call or something?
Andy Johnson sort of swanned over and was like, "These people want to have a chat." Typical sort of handing a card.
There you go, congratulations. Yeah,
bring your mum, you'll be fine.
Amazing. Good
luck to you.
So you went with them, and then these guys helped you get your first jobs in theatre then?
Yes, essentially, sort of started the audition circuit. And like you just said, it didn't feel too far to jump, but at the same time, even still to this day, auditions, I still get the tick. Sure. It happens. It's just... It's excitement,
life,
isn't it?
Yeah, and it's good to have it, I think. How do you deal with nerves, whether that's an audition or an actual live show? Is there something you consciously switch off, or it just goes away?
I think preparation helps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think the more familiar you are with the material, you can sort of leave it all at the door. I make a real effort to try and... I hate doing the thing of standing up and there's I call it the Last Supper panel, where they're all just sort of there staring at you, being awkward. And I'll sing the song stood, but if there's any sort of text or we're starting to do scene work, I try and find a chair and say, do you mind if I just join you? Because it's not...
Nice.
You're not... At that point in time, you don't really know what the story or the job's going to entail. So
or what they want.
Exactly. Yeah. So it is a collaboration, and go in with some questions, an idea of how you'd like to maybe play the character, or just sort of just initial thoughts on it, and make it a little bit more intimate and like a rehearsal space.
Sure.
To sort of take some of that pressure away.
That's an amazing tip, because you're right, it can be really intimidating. You've got sometimes up to like 10 people, I think, just sitting there staring at you, like, go on, impress me. So make it a bit more intimate, calm it down. Love that, really like that. It was very theatre based in the beginning, obviously. Okay, you went to Edinburgh Fringe, Young Vic, Duchess, big stages. Is that the real passion, theatre, with you? Was that it in the beginning? Yeah. And why is that?
I think it's there's a natural sort of arc that every night you can sort of go through.
Sure.
From beginning to end, and filming seems to be... It's an amazing opportunity, and it's very dynamic. It's lovely working out how every department sort of contributes to make the final product, but it can be quite bitty.
Yep.
So you can film the last scene on the first day, or it sort of jumps around a bit. There's a lot of waiting while all these different departments sort of piece the thing together, as you know, I'm sure. So I kind of like the atmosphere of theatre and bodies coming into the space, and you just sort of hear the hubbub in the audience.
The excitement,
yeah.
Keeping it fresh and moving as well. Because you're right, TV, film, you can't do that. You record it, you can watch it on iPlayer as many times as you like. But,
absolutely.
Do you actively try and be different each night in a show? Is that something that's exciting as an actor? Because, okay, you got to stick to the script, but...
I think it sort of grows into that. If you're fortunate to have like a long run, you need to keep it fresh and work for different things, and to just remember that people are maybe paying for, it's their birthday, or... they're going out on a date, or for them, it's, people travel all over the country to see these things. So it's, you owe it back to them, I think, ultimately.
Interesting fact, my 2-year anniversary was coming to watch Prince of Egypt.
No.
Yep, true fact. We're not together, so thank you, Luke. No.
Oh, sorry.
It's all your fault. No, I'm joking. You went on to play Sweeney Todd. Well, you didn't play. You played Anthony in Sweeney Todd, in both Chichester and the West End.
Yeah, that was...
what was that like?
Another sort of like turning point.
Yeah.
I have to sort of say Imelda Staunton was pivotal from taking my education from Hurtwood to RADA.
Wow.
I just walk in, very green, just sort of like loving life. Here we are. And then you sort of see Imelda just on the first couple of days of rehearsal. Everyone's just laughing and crying and doing all these, like, just really responding to what she's doing. And I'm like, we're 3 days in. Like, how is she doing that? So I made a beeline for her and said, how do you do what you're doing? I know it sounds really basic, but what's the magic? And she said a thing of, I leave nothing to chance. I plan everything that I do. And I'm just meticulous in the details. And if you have these questions, consider going to train. It's not for everyone, but you should at least consider it as an option. And in the space of a career, 3 years is nothing. So,
That's amazing advice.
Try not to do the shortcut thing. And ironically, managed to get into the same place that she went to. And at the end of the 3 years, she was there to hand us my degree.
That is incredible.
It was a lovely, lovely moment. And
that's an amazing story. So that was kind of the reason you went then, that conversation with her?
Yeah, I just saw how detailed her performance was. And people just sort of breathed with her. And I just loved that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's an incredible story. Wow. Thank you very much. It's a reason we have you here today. I've got your CV here, and your theatre CV. I mean, it is incredible. The names, the locations, the shows. Also a very lovely photo.
Yeah, very lucky.
So Prince of Egypt, we're going to go and talk about that. You've performed at the Globe because you spoke a bit about Shakespeare and what you did here. How cool was that? It was 3 performances, The Merchant of Venice, 12th Night and The Taming of the Shrew?
Yeah.
So 3 shows at the Globe.
It was a real old school attempt to capture what actors on the road would have been like back in the day.
Of course, yeah.
They might have had 20 plays in their heads at any one time, and they'd all sort of multi-role and just sort of jump in and just pull it out of the hat. And Brendan O'Hay, who was the director on this project, said, right, we've got 10 weeks, we're going to do these 3 shows, and it's going to be voters' choice. So the audience will rock up wherever we are, and the loudest cheer will pick the show. And then we start the show.
So you had to rehearse 3 shows?
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
It was an absolute crazy ride.
Yes, I can imagine.
But so empowering once it was sort of in the body.
Yeah.
And I think it was the Globe that made me understand Shakespeare maybe for the first time.
Yeah. Really unique space.
Yeah.
I've been lucky enough to be there, because is it the cheap seats is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's right.
Front, and things like that. Yeah. They're not even seats, that's the irony. Is that a weird experience? Because as you said, it's like going back in time. I can't think of another theatre that can rival that kind of space.
I think it was sort of breaking that fourth wall, and just there's no typically in theatres there's the lights go down. There's very little you can see. So having people as close as you are to me and being able to have a sort of interaction face to face, and a lot of the time people are mouthing the words back at you. They know it so well.
Wow.
But that job specifically, we were able to travel with it. We went around the country, in the UK, around Europe, and then ended in the Far East. And everywhere we went, they knew the plays better than we did.
It's like a global outreach and stuff, isn't it, Shakespeare?
Yeah.
Which is madness.
No, it's amazing. But finding yourself maybe 6 months into a production, and then a line just dawning on you for the first time, and you've done it so many times, but it's the beauty of his work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's amazing, because I speak English and I don't understand half of it. So how you've gone around the world, everyone gets it. It's beyond me. Let's take Prince of Egypt out of it, because we'll go and talk about that now. Do you have a standout production that you've done since you left in that period? Maybe it was that Shakespeare one, or do they all offer something different?
It's a really good question. I really enjoyed Vernon God Little.
Yeah?
Yeah. It was with Rufus Norris before he became artistic director of the National Theatre. It was a revival production, but it was set in the Deep South, and it felt like a party. He was a director who kind of just would just chat to you about your day more than, and it sounds really unprofessional, but it's not. But he'd get to know the people involved and just had this really acute way of being able to bring out some sort of like spark in them. So when it came to doing the show, everyone's just sort of really sprightly and just alive. And it was the sweet spot. It was like a couple of months worth of a run. So you sort of filled the time well. And it didn't get too drawn out where everyone was having to really find new ways to do it. Yeah.
Amazing. I didn't think we were good with that one, but there you go. That's also so amazing about all the different things you've done. Let's stick with theatre. Let's talk Prince of Egypt. I have to say, as I did say, I came to watch it. Do you know what's really weird about that anniversary weekend was I think we saw Book of Mormon the night before and then Prince of Egypt. Very interesting duo. Anyway, there you go.
Absolutely.
And it was incredible. What was it like for you, Prince of Egypt?
I had to audition for that show too many times.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's really odd, you know, because like I was saying, I've always sung, but I've never like considered myself like the difference between, say, a dancer, a ballet dancer, and someone who can just like throw a few shapes on a dance floor. Sometimes it feels a little bit like that in the singing world.
Oh, right.
Some people will go and do 3 years training solely in music and musical theatre, and I've always had an interest in straight acting, so I've always kind of felt this slight imposter syndrome, although it's got a lot better now. I need to sort of get over that.
Definitely, yeah.
But there's always been that sort of, I don't know if I can sustain.
Because you didn't dedicate all your time to singing where others
yes,
had. Oh, I get you, right, okay.
So with that, it felt very instinctive in terms of the text and the subject matter. The story's so epic. But there was always a thing to prove to these titans, Stephen Schwartz and DreamWorks, that you could sort of do that role and sustain it. So yeah, I just remember having to go in and do tapes, and they were and ahhing.
A really long process then.
Yeah, drawn out maybe at least 9-10 times.
No way.
And
what, just whittling Moses down over time, or
is what, sorry?
Like whittling Moses down.
Yeah,
that's so hard.
This is it.
Getting people like less numbers.
Yeah, whittling the Moses candidates down.
Yeah,
exactly. Loads of bodies. You're walking into an audition room and just like loads of people that could be your brother or cousins.
Yeah.
In the room.
Hello. Yeah.
We know why we're here.
Amazing.
Yeah. So that was interesting. But I was on the train into Victoria and then got the call.
Oh my goodness.
Just screamed the carriage down. That's the beauty of it. It never, like, when you find out some news, it's
never gets old.
Never gets old. But then the window, they always say like the best part of being an actor is the 5 minutes when you get the call. Because everything in between it, you're either waiting for a job or you're just trying to, you know, find stuff to do.
Yeah.
And then the reality comes that you have to deliver and do the thing. Oh God, and the anxiety creeps in again.
So you've gone, oh my goodness, I've got it. I need to call X, Y, and Z people to tell them, oh God, rehearsals are tomorrow or whenever. You know what I mean? Was it pretty much straight away, or when did you get going?
No, there was a workshop period where they could just sort of test the grounds and work out how they would put it into this theatre specifically, because they were trying to go for a different version to the film. So we had the luxury of a couple of weeks workshopping and then a break, and then we start rehearsals. But God, yeah, I
mean, an epic audition process by the sounds
epic
of
audition process,
but also like epic show. The big thing that kind of stood out to me was the production values.
Yes.
I mean, even the dancers had such a crucial role.
They were the feature for me.
Yeah,
you could have put them in Cirque du Soleil. It was so dynamic and just beautiful. And I've only recently been able to see it.
Of course,
because it was filmed, fortunately, which is like some we don't get that sort of luxury to have productions filmed or cast recordings, so it's really special that we were able to capture it. Yeah. But they honestly, seeing their work was the highlight for me, and I just glassy-eyed, gone.
I mean, every part of it was from the individual performances, but, you know, we talk about people behind the scenes and the set designers and costume, which people, if you just go to the theatre, sometimes maybe you don't appreciate it. But I think with that production, you would have done, because every aspect was incredible.
I wish everyone could see Substage.
Yes.
There was this 10-ton hydraulic that would just be like Optimus Prime, just having a nap, like breathing. And it was a rake that, I'm sure you remember, there was a part where the stage sort of lifts, and these Egyptian soldiers, I can't even say that, Egyptian soldiers.
It's not easy.
would just fall into the band pit.
Yeah.
And they went full out.
Yeah,
and I'm glad they did.
You're right, because they came on stage. I do remember sitting going, oh my God, they've gone. Where have they gone? You're right to bring up that it was recorded, because at the end of 2021, I believe it was, you recorded that. It didn't come out for a while. In fact, it was only last October, 2023. It was released in UK and international cinemas. It's now available on Broadway HD and other streaming platforms. Let's take a look at it.
Ramesses will build the greatest empire on earth. Deliver us.
So they go, stream that now. It was in cinemas. I went along to watch it in the cinema. Did you go and watch yourself in the cinema?
I did, yeah.
That was cool. Was that a cool thing?
It took me a minute, excuse me, to commit to it.
Yeah.
I quite squirmy where it comes to that sort of thing anyway. But my cousin was like, come on, just get over yourself. It's been enough time.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did.
Do a little press junkie by the poster at the Odeon. Yeah.
Just to celebrate.
Put that on the Instagram, no, good for you.
Yeah, just to sort of celebrate everyone's work and what it had been. And there, like I said, there had been enough time to have kind of removed myself enough to, like I say, celebrate the whole experience.
Absolutely.
And what it was.
Well, I've got to ask, because you're here, West End leading man, and people who know me from my time at Hurtwood, I was more of an actor who could hum rather than a singer. I thought maybe you could give us a little burst of Miracles, maybe?
I'll try.
Give it a go.
Yeah.
I've got a backing track. It's E flat minor for all you fact fans out there. You've got your headphones back on.
I should have warmed my voice up.
You should have warmed. Is this still a thing where they go?
Yeah,
that sort of thing.
Typically.
Well, here we go. I'll hum along. Just so I can say I've duetted with someone from the West End.
This won't be your last.
I'm pretty sure it will be. Right, take it away, Luke Brady.
There can be miracles when you believe. Though hope is frail, it's hard to kill.
It's really emotional songs.
Who knows what miracles you can achieve when you believe. Somehow you will. You will when you believe.
Oh, round of applause, everyone. Well, on the card it says, I'll sing with you. I'm not after that. That's incredible. And what memories, I mean, because that song, I believe, or the whole album was nominated for a Grammy. The cast recording.
Yeah, that's a loophole.
There you go. Grammy nominated artist.
Yeah.
There you go.
That was kind of hilarious. I think it was the same year that Beyonce was being nominated, and they just started to introduce cast recordings.
Yeah.
So we managed to get
music is beautiful. It really, really
Oh, it's
is.
stunning. Yeah.
Because you did West End Live.
I did
with Prince of Egypt.
Yeah,
What
in my
was that?
big stage, in my
was
tight
it?
costume. Yeah.
And what was that like, singing? Because I suppose with theatre, the lights are down. You can't see the hundreds, thousands of people that are in a theatre.
No.
But West End Live, you can, because it's
They're
in the middle of
just
the
so
day.
enthusiastic.
Yeah.
They're the best crowd.
Are they?
Honestly. Yeah, they're just so game for it. And but you're right, Trafalgar Square. It's a very daunting space. But
Yeah.
I think you just embrace it, and it's a really good atmosphere.
Yeah.
Multiple shows, all doing the highlights from the piece. So it was just another thing to kind of get behind and tell yourself you'll survive the day.
Absolutely, just keep going.
Just keep
And
going.
you're right, the fans there are mad. Musical theatre fans are. So I feel really privileged that we had a little one-on-one recording session there. So thank you for singing that. Really
don't be
appreciate
silly.
that. Before we wrap up, let's quickly touch on TV and film, because it's not just theatre you've done. Murder on the Orient Express. There's a scene, I've seen it, with some pretty big stars. Tell me about that.
Yeah, that was
Pinch me moment?
yeah, definitely. Johnny Depp for me was one of the most sort of like intriguing chameleon actors growing up. I just love his choices. I love that he's willing to be wacky and weird.
And out there, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's there's something about him. So, I'm in the smallest scene with him and Kenneth Branagh, and I'm literally delivering pastries across a table, back and forth, while they're having like an interaction through the waiter.
You're like that medium, aren't you, between them?
Yeah. And I just remember being like, oh, it's Johnny Depp. I have to whisper in his ear, and all I wanted to say was, I love you. I love your work.
But wasn't it something about chocolate or...
Yes.
Yeah. He was going to buy him a drink, but he'd prefer hot chocolate or something like that.
Well remembered.
Thank you.
I think you should.
No, that's the production team in my ear telling me that now.
Yeah, exactly that.
But amazing to share the screen with them.
Yes.
You've also shared the screen with Jack Whitehall in Channel 4's Fresh Meat. That was comedy though.
Yeah.
Very different to, say, playing Moses. Did you enjoy, because a bit of a comic side?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something about just sort of the lightheartedness on set. If people are just sort of throwing things left, right and centre, it keeps things moving in a really exciting way.
Yeah.
And I had a really good time on that experience. It was in Manchester for a little bit.
Nice.
That was like the first time I'd done something, a couple of episodes of something, and was just like, again, it's all new. It's time to sort of learn on the job.
And another role in TV you did. Listen, Luke, I've worn some questionable costumes in my time. I played a spoon in Beauty and my Beast at amateur theatre level. Rocco in Miracle Workers.
Yeah.
That was quite a fun little number. The Merry Men, you dancing around in those costumes.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
So that was funny. In Prince of Egypt,
Yeah.
an audition came through for that, and I managed to go, can one of the dancers just teach me a little piece of movement?
Way.
So it was a 2 for 1.
Yeah.
They were like just 5, 6, they just did something, taught it to me, managed to get the job from it, and
That is incredible.
find yourself in the Czech Republic in a wood, looking like an elf.
Yeah, do look it
dancing,
up, it's hilarious.
dancing for your supper.
Yeah.
It's what we do.
I've watched it, it's a really funny scene. It's a really great scene.
It's a bit mad, but yeah, again, just you never know what's right on the corner with any of this stuff, and that's just kind of the part of the work that I love, and I embrace it.
All exciting, all new, really different stuff
Yes,
as well, which is amazing. Before we close up today, let's talk kind of recent work. I saw on your Instagram about voiceover work, something Bear Grylls and his book.
Yeah.
So you want to get into that as well and doing kind of voice work?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We had a great RADA department, a great radio department at RADA.
Right.
That just sort of encouraged voice work. It's probably going to sound awful, my microphone technique here. But it's just the sort of radio world is, as you know, it's really exciting. And I love the opportunity to sit and create a character where people don't know what you look like, and hopefully you can jump around the world with it and take on many different sort of faces, which is it's cool. But with this one specifically, Bear Grylls is amazing. I didn't know half as much. I was reading the book, learning about his life, and it's a children's book, basically trying to get youngsters to be a bit more fearless and sort of take ownership of what's available to you, and to be a bit more elemental like he does, and get out your front door and sort of get active. So I was learning as I was reading it.
Yeah, I mean, apart from drinking his own urine, he seems like quite a sound guy, doesn't he? Really? Seems lovely. But you mentioned being adventurous there. You're pretty adventurous yourself. Jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
Is that something you're doing for a role or something you just really enjoy? A hobby
just
of
for
yours?
life. I love martial arts. I have done for years. And with the job that we do, it's not really the best kind of thing to do.
Okay.
But it's low impact. You're not really getting... I mean, at this club, they do sort of stand-up fighting stuff, but it's you're not really trading blows or anything like that. And I just love the discipline of it. It's the only time that you can come into a space and everyone, regardless of what you do for a living, kind of just throws themselves into this intimate experience where ordinarily you don't really, unless you're close to someone intimately in a relationship, you kind of... You're like, hello mate, how's it going? And you just end up rolling around with people. But it's one of the only martial arts I think that takes as long as it takes, on average, 10 to 12 years to go from white to black belt, which is a real commitment. And it's nice to have stuff outside of what we do. I was
going to say,
where it's so it's so unpredictable, and you never know at any point. There's very little autonomy.
Sure.
Whereas with this, you put the time in, you get something back.
Yeah.
And that was a kind of catalyst for me to try and start dabbling in my own work and realising, okay, I think that's maybe what I want is autonomy.
Yeah.
And finding ways to not just wait for the phone to ring. You mentioned earlier actually about like advice to younger artists coming through or what they want to do. As early as possible, find people that are like-minded and want to create stuff. If you, just find people... Everyone has a phone. Everyone has the means to be able to just put a couple of notes down and just do stuff. I think something that I wish I'd heard more of at drama school, at RADA specifically, was you are more than one thing, and you have the options to create your own work. And so many success stories or so many things, if you just lean into other people's brilliance, you might not even need to know everything at the time, but someone will have the answers, and you can just lean into their experiences and actually start to surprise yourself and flesh out projects, whatever that may be.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to wrap this up and end it, because hopefully it's something that Hurt was done for me. It's evidently done it for you. And it
took me a long time to get even just to the idea of it, but
there's loads of like-minded people here, and that's what's amazing.
Absolutely.
Luke, been amazing chatting to you. Thank you so
thanks
much.
for having me.
I will shake your hands. If I can reach you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
No, not at all.
We really hope you're enjoying Beyond the Hill. To catch up on every other episode, head to YouTube and Spotify right now, or you can follow all of our social media channels to never miss a moment here on Beyond the Hill.